Hello, I thought I'd make this video because a few of my friends have recently been going through a hard time. Unfortunately, a tragedy happened, which unfortunately we lost a good friend of ours, and a lot of my friends were there in a car accident, and a lot of them were there on the scene, and a lot of them, I believe, are struggling and maybe struggling, and if anybody else is struggling on here, feel free to subscribe and do whatever, or watch this video. As the title suggests, it's a little bit to do with mental health, PTSD, anxiety, depression, all that good stuff. The main reason why I wanted to cover this was because it's very close to me. I've been through some stuff, a little background. I'm ex-military. I was diagnosed with PTSD back in 2013, sorry, and that left me to be discharged from the military. And well, since then I've been through help and I've picked up a few things, and a lot of people in my friends group are very like-minded like me. So I thought I'd do this little video just to show what is available and what you can do, and a little bit of a coping mechanism at the end. Just for a bit of reassurance, and also it helped me massively, and if it helps you, it helps you. Obviously everybody's different. First thing I'll say, if you do think or you know somebody that is struggling with mental health, always seek professional help first, obviously. I'm just going to give a bit of support and stuff like that for my friends. I am reading off notes I made earlier because I don't know where all my other stuff has gone. So if you do see me looking down, that's why. Yeah, so like I said, I'm ex-military. I was on tour in 2012 in Afghanistan, and then in April, May of 2013, I ended up being diagnosed with PTSD. I was a very heavy drinker. I was alcoholic. I was on a bottle a night, going into work drunk. Surprised nobody noticed. Used to sneak off and try and get drink. As honest as I can be, that's how I was. Got myself in a rut. I was depressed. I wouldn't leave the house. I pushed all my friends and family away, my loved ones, my ones that are caring. So yeah, I wasn't in a good place. I've had horrible thoughts, not suicidal, but more towards other people. I couldn't drive, and driving was one of my biggest releases. Because of the medication I was on. I got into debt, and yeah, I was in up shit creek basically. But with the help I had a good support network, and I think if the support we have nowadays is really good, and I think if we had that throughout, the past 30-40 years, I think a lot of soldiers and a lot of people would be a lot better off. So this video is just really just to highlight what PTSD is and what it can do, just a few little ins and outs. What I would suggest you try and do as much as you can, and then as that's how I'd like just this video to go, really. If you like it, put it down in the comments if you'd like to see more. If not, give us a thumbs down. Well, basically my experience with PTSD, I had anxiety, hyper anxiety more to the point, where I could not switch off at all. I would be worried about everything, and a lot of people get this, and a lot of people don't recognise it as anything. They just think, oh, it's just restlessness, or it's just your mind overthinking things. It is known, and it is a massive thing, is hyper anxiety, to a point where some people they will stop doing everything that they love doing just to be away from a situation, just in case that situation happens. And yeah, so that's the big one. Depression, obviously everyone knows about depression. You're feeling low, never being happy. With that then comes the guilt and regret side of things. If you suffered a traumatic experience, 9 times out of 10 you will feel guilty or responsible, or that you wish you could do more, and stuff like that. They normally then lead to, was this just a dog? Sleeplessness and restlessness. So because of your guilt and your anxiety, you just will not be able to sleep, or you'll be afraid to sleep. That then brings me on to the next one: nightmares and night terrors. With these two, it's a very horrible thing to go through. I've been through it myself, especially the night terrors, where you wake up and it just replays on and on and on, and you just can't get out, or something is a little bit different, and it makes it even worse. That then leads to restlessness and also insomnia, which then again, is another subject altogether. The loneliness and the self-doubt. So a lot of people, with the going through mental health, will struggle with loneliness. They might not seem it, they might seem happy and bubbly on the outside, but really they get home and they just feel shut off from the world. You can feel, what's the word? You can feel like you're not part of anything, whether it be a group of friends, whether it be at work with your colleagues. You'll start to think, oh, they're looking at me funny, or this, that, and the other. That then contributes to loneliness, and then you'll shut yourself off from the world. And with that then comes, your loneliness will then become literal. You'll feel lonely at the beginning, and you won't be, but then when you'll start shutting people away, then you will become lonely. They're like the main categories I associate myself with. If there's any more, obviously, well, there is more. It's a big variety. But some things just to maybe help or run through, to kind of make it a little bit easier for you if you can do these things. It's obviously easier said than done. I know, believe me, but these are what I got told, what I got taught, and what helps me. I got taught a lot more than this, but I picked and chose the ones which are most important to me, and most important, I think, to a lot of people that are going through similar situations. So, first of all, get help. Not from YouTube, not from friends or family, or somebody who's been through a similar situation. That does help, but professional. I'm talking counselling, therapy, group therapy, single therapy, one-to-one, CBT. It all helps. You might not think it, and it is the biggest, most important step, is to get help. If a loved one is telling you to get help, that's your kind of trigger to go get help. If you're not ready for that, then these next steps are what I would consider, which will help you out massively. So, speaking to somebody you trust, whether it be a loved one, a partner, family member, friends, somebody who was there at that situation as well. That always helps massively. If you speak to somebody about it, about how you're feeling, about that you're worried about yourself or worried about a certain person, because this video could also go to, if you want to share this to other people, you can do. So yeah, try and speak to somebody you trust. I found that massively helpful. The next one is try not to push the people who love you or you love away. This is very difficult because you will want to push people away that you love. You won't mean to. It will just happen. If they ask you a question, just say, I don't want to talk about it right now, but I want you to know that I'm not okay, but at the moment I'll speak to you in my own time, type thing. Same if you're a loved one. If you notice that somebody is distancing himself from you, don't let them push you away, if that makes sense. If you notice that change has happened and that they are pushing you away, try and be supportive. Maybe keep your distance just a little bit to give them a little bit of breathing room at the beginning, but then eventually make sure you're there, be supportive, and reassure, basically. That's the best thing to do. The other main one, you're not alone. Especially nowadays, it's all the hype is talking about mental health, but you are not alone. There's a big community out there. There's forums, there's websites, there's information online. There's groups, there's local groups in local areas normally, and you're not alone. You'll always have somebody there, no matter how bad you get, somebody will always be there to listen. Whether that be a friend, family member, or even a stranger. Going back to the doctors, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are afraid because they're a stranger, but they're a non-biased source, which is also very good because they're not going to judge you, they're not going to do anything. They're just there a lot of the time just to listen. It's good for you to vent, to rant, to get along. Next thing I want to mention is keeping busy. This keeps your mind occupied, keeps your body still functioning, making sure you don't just fester, basically. This could be anything. Gaming, driving, climbing activities, outdoor activities. You could do anything, whether it just take up a hobby, knitting, for goodness sake, art, and stuff like that. And anything that will keep you busy, anything that you enjoyed, do it. Still do it, within reason. So don't put yourself in a situation which is going to make your condition worse. But then on the flip side to that, try and keep doing it in some sort of way, whether that be, going to the gym at a quieter time, whether it be, going on the Xbox and not having a party chat, for instance, stuff like that, or PlayStation. Do it how you still would, but kind of put yourself a bit of restriction, so then you're not putting yourself in a bad situation, so that it doesn't become enjoyable, because you want to keep enjoying it. If the next one, if something is making your situation worse, change it. Don't avoid it, change it. So with that, it's a lot easier said than done. So let's say you go to football, for instance, and you go for a kickabout, but every time you go, there's always that one person that annoys you, or that one person that gets under your skin, even before you had this, but now it's even worse, it's escalated. Instead of avoiding that situation, maybe try and find another team, for instance, to play with, so you're not with that person. Or when you go out shopping, instead of going, shopping at 10 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock at night at the busiest times, go to a 24-hour and go late at night. So then you're still doing it, you're still getting yourself out, you're not stuck in a room. You're not stuck in your house, you're not stuck in somewhere where you're just going to overthink. So then at least you're out, you're still socialising somewhat, but you're reducing that situation down. That one for me helped me pretty good, because as you might know, we push a lot of people away, and it avoids that pushing away as such, because you're still socialising. And when you feel ready to, not everyone will feel ready to, obviously everything's easier said than done. Start challenging yourself, do something new, something creative, something you've wanted to do, something that you think will give you a buzz. That then will help you you'll use that as a coping mechanism. So you'll use that challenge, or that situation to challenge yourself every time, and that will give you coping. So every time you're feeling crappy, you're like, oh, right, at the end of work today, I'm going to go, I'm going to go for a 10-mile hike up a mountain. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be in the bliss, and and then next time, you never know, it might then become more of a habit, more of a hobby. Then eventually, you could be doing it every weekend, or it's something to look forward to. That's more to the point. Obviously, it's only when you feel like you're ready to, because some people find challenging situations very difficult, especially when you're going through stuff. But then again, it could lead a door to all sorts of possibilities. I got into rock climbing when I was going through a lot. I was very lucky to have a lot of support network from the British Legion and Help for Heroes, and I took up rock climbing at the time. It solved everything for me. every time I felt crappy, every time I felt like I was going down, I went to the climbing gym. You know, I wouldn't necessarily speak to a lot of people, but I'd go there and you do something and it gets your mind off things. You start focusing on that because you're enjoying it, you know, and then eventually you'll then start speaking to people when you're at this place. You know, you'll meet new people, you meet new friends, and then there you go, you're socialising again, just with a different group of people that are 9 times out of 10 you'll find that they are doing the same thing. They're doing it for a release, and that release is good. It helps massively, and it keeps your brain from overthinking and going too far. So yeah, that kind of ties into the next thing. Try something new. So try something new. You know, no matter what it is. Could be clay molding, could be forging a weapon. You never know. You never know until you try it. You might enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you go on to the next thing. If you've got a bucket list, start going through that bucket list. And that goes onto my next one, which is a bit of a touchy one. Obviously, a lot of trauma or a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of traumatic situations are normally where somebody got hurt, somebody you know or love has been hurt, or you found somebody, let's say, hurt or injured, or you know, unfortunately, they passed away. This one is a big one, and enjoy your time. We all know that life is too short, plain and simple. It's too short. We don't have enough time on this earth. But whilst we're here and whilst we've got it, enjoy it. Enjoy the ones you love. Enjoy doing things with your friends, with your family, anything. You know, it makes you appreciate things more, and the appreciation is a big thing. You know, you'll start appreciating little things like going for a walk down the park. You know, having that one meal you haven't with a friend you haven't seen for a year. You'll appreciate all these things, and it'll make your life a lot more joyous because you'll be getting more out of it. You know, unfortunately, the world we live in, we never know what's around the corner. So the best thing to do is enjoy the time we've got when we can. So yeah, that's kind of like my just a little rundown on how I coped with my mental health a little bit. You know, friends, the family, the support is there. I know not everyone has friends and family and support, but you'll always have somebody there to listen to and to speak to you. No matter where you go in life, there'll always be somebody there willing to listen. You know, it's a very tough one, but hey, I hope that helped a little bit. But now we'll go on to a little bit of coping mechanism, which is just a short one. Well, I say short one, it can take a little while, but it's a really effective one if you're more visual than you are to read. It's very good. I've got a bit of paper here, which I'm going to do a little example for. So here, so get your piece of paper. You think of a memory, a good memory, the best memory you can think of. Memories like weddings, and obviously if you have a child being born, they're always going to be a really good memory. So try and think of something totally different. So for me, this one works for me really well, and I still use this to today. It was taking my dog on the beach with my mum and my 2 cousins. The 2 cousins were only young. It was 2 minutes away from my house. This walk. I always remember this one bit, and it gets me every time. So with the memory, you want to just draw it out. It doesn't need to be neat. Just roughly, you know, whereabouts it was, or the specific moment. So if it was a room, do it in that room. Draw the walls, draw everything. So for me, I'll just do a really rubbish drawing. My drawings are really crap, by the way. So let's do the sea. We've got the beach and then loads of pebbles. And then so let's do loads of pebbles. And like I said, it doesn't need to be neat. You can, if you want to make it neat, make it neat if it does your head in. But then, like, so if you're doing it really rough, it's easier just to like write down what things are. So like for me, I put the sea, so beach slash sand, and then like an arrow. Let's just call them pebbles. And once you've done that, obviously put where you were, where your position was, whereabouts you were in the memory. So let's just do little stick men, little maybe cousins, just chilling out. And then my mum was there, so little sign, and then me, I was up here, and then my rubbish looking dog was up there. So this is obviously extremely rough, just to give you a rough idea. So I've got that there. So obviously the sea, the beach, that's where the sand was, and that's where the pebbles were. There are my cousins, my mum and myself, and Kino at the time, which was the pooch. So I'm going to put little arrows to reference or everyone. So Kino, me, mother, cousins. Right, so once you've done that, once you've got a rough idea of where everything is, if it's in an open area like this, it's a little bit easier. But if it's in a room, it is kind of better in a way, because there's more stuff we can go through. So once you've done that, on the back, so you've got that, and on the back of the piece of paper, or on the piece of paper actually, if you've got room, like I've got room on mine, so actually on it. So put sight, smell, feel, texture, the time, and where. So with these, you put some more if you want. So you could put stuff like sound. That's a good one actually. Sound. I'll put that one down. You go as inventive as you want. So you can even go as far as how bright the light bulb was and stuff like that. So that will then break it down. So you got sight. So what did you see? You know, well, what could you see? So for instance, for me, I could see obviously the sea. You could see the dog playing in the water with the ball. I could hear the kids in the background. I could hear seagulls. Obviously the waves crashing. All that sort of stuff. So then you write that down. Then go on to the next one. So smell, for instance. So I could smell the nice fresh sea air. It's one of my, I will admit, you know, I'm a bit of a sucker for the beach. I love the smell of it. Smell the salt. If you're eating, what did it smell like? Or if you were in a room, you know, what did it smell like? Did it smell horrible? Did it smell good? Lavender? Did it smell clean like lemon? Or was anything like that? And then the feel. So the feel is a bit of a random one. So what did you feel when you were there? As well as so feel as in touch. So what did you feel? So like picking up sand, for instance, the salt and the sand and the ball when I picked the ball up and I threw the ball. The feel and how smooth the rocks were, and little things like that. And then on another one, another feel. What were you feeling like? The emotions you had, the joy, the happiness, the expressiveness. What made it so good? You know, the people you were around, the people you were with, anything like that. Then you go into texture, which then is obviously part of the feel. But if you were on outside, like I said, this is where it gets a bit thing. So if you were inside, what did the wallpaper feel like? I know it's a really stupid thing, but what did the doorknob feel like? What did the door feel like? You'll start remembering all these all these things about this memory that you never even ever thought of before. As you're writing it down, you'll be surprised at how much more you will come up with things. So, oh, well, the wooden table felt nice, you know, or it felt rough, or you know, as I closed the door, it was a big loud bang, for instance. Then on to time. What time was it? When was it? You'll be surprised that you'll actually remember the exact time it happened, or this memory was, you know, or roughly. So you go, oh, it was around 1:30. Then you'll start questioning yourself, like, was it 1:30 or was it 1:35? And then once you get that answer, write it down. So then you go onto anything else you want to do. Anything you could the possibilities are absolutely endless. What you could do for this, as you write it down, you'll keep getting more and more and more. It's a very good tool, because once you've got all that, you keep that piece of paper with you at all times. Or you take a picture on your phone, you've always got your phone on you, keep it in your pocket. So with this, the way it works is it kind of like overrides your brain the more you use it. So you keep it with you, and every time you start feeling low, or feeling down, or feeling that anxiety get up, you take yourself out of that situation, whether it be if you're out on the street, at work, at home, whatever. You just take yourself away for about 10 minutes. Get this picture out, or get it out on your phone, and relive that. Just close your eyes or read and relive that memory. You'll relive it that much that you will actually start to remember even more things. And the more you do it, it's very difficult to start with, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Because then your brain starts to kind of, every time you start feeling that anxiety, it'll just automatically click and go, oof, I remember that memory now, I've got to do that, right, I'll do that, I'll sit myself out for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden that anxiety or that thought process or that feeling will go down very slowly. At first it'll go down very slowly, eventually it'll just snap out of it, and it's very, very easy. It doesn't work for everybody. I've shown this to a couple of people, and it hasn't worked for them, but it's worked for others. Like I said, this video is mainly aimed at some of my close friends, and hopefully it will work for them because they're very similar minded to me. Hopefully it'll work for you as well, and whoever you may show this to. It's a very simple technique, but you can do it for multiple memories. So instead of having the same one, you can do it for multiple. So if you've got multiple amazing, fantastic memories, and you don't need a reason why it's an amazing memory, just that it is an amazing memory and that you've really, really enjoyed it. It's got to be something happy, that gave you joy, that you'll never ever forget, a time and a place you'll never ever forget. And just remember to keep on doing that. Once you've done it a few times, you'll get used to it. But you can then incorporate this with different techniques as well. So let's say if you do muscle relaxant breathing techniques, stuff like that, you can incorporate with that whilst you're doing your breathing techniques, whilst you're doing your muscle tension. You can think about this memory whilst you're doing that, and that'll like double your process. Once you do have this memory, and let's say you're around somebody all the time, partner, a really close friend, anything, tell them this memory. Tell them that this is a really strong memory of mine, and if I am in any trouble, or if I am going down, or if I'm having a flashback or a night terror or whatever, try and make me listen to you by saying about this memory. Just tell me to remember this memory. Go to that happy place, go to that happy memory, go whatever you want to call it. Tell them that way. Then when you are going down shit creek and you can't think, they can think for you. So they can actually say, right, yeah, Nathan, think about this memory, come on, it was an amazing time, you did this, you did that, remember the sights, remember the smells. And as you're doing this, you'll notice that you'll close your eyes and you'll actually visualise yourself being there. And that's the genius of it. because you were there. But it's a memory which you know really, really well, but you've never got into that many intricate details. You haven't gone into how it smelled, how it felt, how the sand felt, how the pebbles felt. You know, how did the dog feel? What did the dog smell like after it came out of the water? Obviously, stinky wet dog. But it's these memories, it's them little bits that help you out massively. You know, it doesn't work for everybody. That's all I'm going to say. But if it does work for you, I hope it does work for you. Like I said, it's not works for everybody, but it works for some people. Well, quite a lot of people, myself included. And I'm just going to end this video on a last note. Not everyone will understand what you're going through. A lot of people are confused about it. A lot of people probably won't notice it. When you feel up for it, maybe sit them down and go through it, or let them know that you don't. Sometimes you'll be different. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. No matter what life throws at you, you will always find a way to do it. The body and the human mind is very, very good at adapting, and we will always find a way to cope, to adjust, and to look out for yourself and each other. Everybody's different. Not everything works for everybody. But if we can help at least one person, you know, get through a hard time, then that's the best kind of thing. Like I said, I'm Nathan. If you like this video, please give it a like or a share. You know, it's for my friends really, but if anybody else gets help out of it, I'll be really, really happy. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's it really. Just remember, you're never alone. People go through it every day. Whether it be trauma or whether it be anxiety or whether you can get it from anything. Just remember that there's always going to be people there to help you. Always seek professional help first. But if you can't do that, go to your friends and your family and your loved ones and try not to push them away as best you can. Or if you know somebody that's going through stuff, try not to be pushed away by them and don't let it get you down. Everybody's different, and everybody reacts to things differently. But I hope this helps. If it does, then great. If it doesn't, then I'm sorry. But yeah, great, nice one.